How's it going, Warlords? I'm the DarkBriton of the Runaway Warlords, and today, my friends, I have a fun discussion of sorts. So fill up your cup, pull on up, and let's kick off this sip and discuss. Nakama, I would like to throw into the fray my reasoning for why Yamato is the best princess in One Piece. Yeah, I know. That is a wild claim to make, especially this quickly into her reveal, which is why this is the perfect time to have our first simp run down. A fun little series where an in-depth scientific simp approach is taken in evaluating the best aspects of our favorite One Piece waifus. Now, I'll defend my stance on the basis of introduction, usefulness, personality, and Nakama. While there is the all-important aspect of Yamato's role in the overall story of One Piece, and that is incredibly fair, but we have yet to come to a true consensus on what that entails for her. This is my fun way of thinking about this new character in regards to many of the princesses we've come across in these past 23 years. Now keep in mind that while I do look like a scientist because of my glasses, I'm not an expert, and these are just my opinions and thoughts. Now to start off, the One Piece Wiki has a cohort of canon One Piece story princesses as Nefertari Vivi, Shirahoshi, Mancheri, Viola, Vinsmoke Reiju, who in my honest opinion is top 5 One Piece waifu. By the way, comment down below if you would like a simp rundown for Reiju. Rebecca, Carmean, I know, I had to look her up too. But this is the princess captured in the early stages of the Reverie by the pirates in the submarine. Pretty sure she was the damsel in distress that Helmeppo got. So in regards to the princess comparison with Colby, lol. The Matrio princesses, these were the Russian doll women in the Reverie arc as well, but they were from the Rashwan kingdom. While these lovely ladies are very important in their own right, I attest that already Yamato has proven to be the best princess in the story so far. For this piece, I'm going to explore each category one at a time and go over why I feel that Yamato far outpaces the other princesses in this regard. Category 1, Introduction. The introduction of a character is one of the most vital aspects of Oda's storytelling. There are entire arcs like Marineford, where the introduction of a single person seemingly shifts the entirety of the world's narrative. Remember when we got to meet Marco the Phoenix in all his pineapple glory? Now let's take that mindset and turn it to our princesses. In regards to how we first met them, none in my view had the most badass introductions as Rebecca. As a young gladiator woman duking it out in the arena and displaying observation hockey. Yes, as soon as she won that bout and stepped outside of the arena, her entire character took a giant nosedive. A gripe I will get to in the usefulness category. But when we first saw Rebecca, there was so much hype. Another great example of a good introduction would be Vivi. For us elder One Piece weebs, Vivi at one point in our lives is a very mysterious figure. She was an assassin that was actually a princess infiltrating an evil organization. Heck, part of her introduction was getting dunked on by Luffy over a whale. She started off to us as really cool and quite mysterious. She will forever be a huge part in the early One Piece story, but it pales in comparison to how we were introduced to Yamato. Now, there were other interesting introductions like Mancheri and Shirahoshi, But with Shirahoshi, her introduction went from intrigue to frustration in a single panel. And Mancheri is a tontada, so there's that. But this is a dummy thick with 3 C's, but Yamato's introduction was outstanding, for the simple fact that all of us were convinced Yamato was a boy. Granted, this comes heavily from Kaido calling her his son, but with the exception of a few that pointed out the mask was hiding something, we all thought this princess was a prince. This introduction was absolute fire and a testament to how Eiichiro Oda's storytelling can still throw curveballs 23 years into a series publication. At the removal of her mask, we were turned on our heads. This is greatly expounded upon by seeing her in actual combat. And the fact that we will get to witness her combat style so early is the reason she not only takes the introduction, but is also the leading candidate for the next category. Category 2, usefulness. To really dig deep into the aspect of usefulness in the story, I have to call back to the women that had a great introduction, but whose usefulness ended shortly after that. I argue that this is the reason Rebecca is such a hated entity in the fan base. I agree. This was the character that could have grown significantly and in my opinion, should have helped Kyros take down Diamante. That was not to be the case. Instead, this character, whom we first met battling it out without in literally no armor, shifted to yet another damsel in distress that must be rescued. It was a huge letdown to her character and Rebecca's overall role in our eyes as viewers. Vivi, on the other hand, was incredibly useful. Mind you, she started off quite annoying as she sought to do everything on her own, but thanks to our favorite OCD monkey boy, she was able to learn from this. However, it does not give her the usefulness boost she needs because she can't really defend herself. Maybe against fodder characters, but at almost every point in the Alabaster Reverie, Vivi was powerless. In Alabasta, Vivi was powerless in her attempts and was even a liability in many aspects. When we turn to Mancheri, yeah, she can heal, which is pretty helpful, but not on the same level we were looking at. And while Shirahoshi is literally a weapon of mass destruction, I feel she is not as useful in many ways because of her inability to control her powers. I also pose against her usefulness as she chose to escape the arc Noah by swimming directly above Fisherman Island instead of, off to the side. With the introduction of Yamato, we finally have a princess that can hold her own in battle. This is not a character that we have to keep gasping when they get hit or overpowered in some way. It's a relief, not only for a female character, but a princess nonetheless can jump into the fray. At the point of this recording, Yamato has knocked out a Tobiropo, maintained composure during a scuffle that involved a Gear 3rd punch from Luffy, and seemingly sparred against Ace at some point in the past. This is an incredibly promising character, and I only hope Oda does not slide back into old tropes and explores having a brawling Bowsette in the story. Category 3, personality. When it comes to personality, prepare for the simp to go full throttle, because I adore this well-balanced character that Yamato seems to be. And when I mean well-balanced, I mean a very naive-minded and easily duped, but having the brute strength to actually defend herself in the situations she finds herself in. She reminds me of the innocent and brute strength seen in Kohaku from Dr. Stone, Urza from Fairy Tail, or Mikasa from Attack on Titan. She exudes the strength known through her prior actions, but then displays a slight shyness at Luffy taking off her explosive cuffs. While her strength would have potentially allowed for her to take them off, her more innocent demeanor gave her the pause someone of her build may not normally have. It has an older, super kawaii feel, but was a character trait that immediately stood out to me. This despite having one of the more athletic female body types given to us in the story. And in knowing the true nature of our storytelling messiah, Oda could have gone in a completely different path with her character design. Thankfully, Yamato doesn't have to deal with the same intellectual issues as, say, a Shirahoshi, Reiju, Viola, Rebecca, Manshare. Let's just say all other princesses, shall we? While I am a self-described degenerate, the aspect of having a princess that is somewhat proportional, if anything but allowing for battle prowess, is a huge issue for me. We do not have a giant chest to oogle at, but I'm sure Oda will give us something ecchi any day now. Category 4, Nakama. Now this is the big question that everyone bounces around. You have the One Piece purists that think since we have already reached our quota of 10, we can't add any more to the crew. And on the other side of the faction, we have a faction that still wants the tree from Thriller Bark to be a Straw Hat. You know, the everyone for Nakama sort. Honestly, I believe that there is a pseudo role that on the crew many are forgetting. We've only really had a total of 5 non-official Straw Hats traveling on the Mary and Sunny, these being Momo, Kinemon, Law, Vivi, and Kuru. I believe that the role that Yamato would play as a Straw Hat isn't as an official member of the crew in the conventional way, but as a companion role like what we've seen before. This especially when paralleled with Vivi. Vivi, for her time with the crew, acted as a navigator with Nami. She didn't have an official role, but to many of us, we still think of her as an honorary Straw Hat. That's technically why it's all right for Yamato to travel with Luffy as she seeks to become Odin, who technically had a similar role in his time with Whitebeard and eventually Roger. And this is already having Nico Robin being the one that can interpret the poneglyphs. Yamato, with the help of Odin's journal, could be the co-researcher along with her. This allows for her to travel with the crew, but not fall into the argument of what will her role be. She is the princess mascot, basically, and similar to how we started our journey in the Grand Line with a princess on the ship, that being Vivi, we potentially end the Straw Hats journey with one as well. The best part of all is it's actually possible for this princess to travel along with the crew. With the core group of princesses, the fan base has consolidated around Vivi, Shirahoshi, and Rebecca. All 3 truly wanted to travel with the Straw Hats. However, they each had their own responsibilities to their people, which was the force that inevitably led them staying in their home countries. Yamato doesn't have this problem. She wants to go, badly in fact. Even if she turns out to be the princess over the tribe her and Kaido are from, I highly doubt she will be compelled by a higher power to stay and help the people move forward. Yamato wants out. This is a huge reason for my thinking this way. But those were my thoughts. What do you think? If you made it to this point in the video, be sure to leave a like. It helps out a ton here. Leaving a comment also helps navigate the YouTube algorithm. And if you want to be a part of this nerd community, feel free to subscribe to be Nakama. I'm the DarkBriton, and as always, stay reckless, Warlords.